Hi guys, welcome to Finding Joy in the Mundane, and this is the episode on where we talk about what it is to pursue life. So I know that is a huge topic, but I think we can do it. So I have come prepared with some research. And I'm just paraphrasing. The Anglican Church was very tied to the Catholic Church. And there were a lot of things that they really didn't agree with, like making people pay to go to heaven. You know, when you say it that way, I feel like it makes sense. But whenever you start putting the thys and those and whatever, people get confused. So that is literally what it is, and that's what purgatory is a way for the Catholic Church to demand that you pay, that you get yourself out of it. It's like insurance. You know, they're like, well, just in case this ever happens, give me your money every month. And then it happens once every 3 years, but they've been getting your money every month. So, I don't know, that is up to debate, and I have sat in those classrooms, and, you know, if they would like to debate, they know where to find me. But today, I am talking about what it is to pursue life. Because if that is something that we have a right to, like to pursue life, liberty, happiness, what exactly are they saying that we have the right to? Do we have the right to life? Or do we have the right to pursue a life that is good for us or bad for us? Do we want to live in a society that is both for us and against us? I don't know. Actually, I'm lying. I do know. I don't want to. But that's just my opinion. I don't want to. I don't want to live in a community or a nation that is divided. Coming from a country that you were born into already divided, like with Christians on one side, Muslims on the other side, and then there are Sunnis and Shiites and all of the things. So, like, I've already come from the divided. Okay, I understand. So it was refreshing coming to a place where people stood united. Isn't it the United States of America? I don't know. I'm Lebanese, and I got my citizenship through adoption because I was 16. So 2 more years, and I would have had to apply for citizenship. And I would have not passed that test. I don't know the presidents. I'm telling you now. And I went through the middle school system here, so it's your fault, not mine. So that kind of does touch on the fact that what kind of life do you have the right to have that we are standing here and declaring and protecting? And that other people are dying for. For you to have the right to pursue life. What gives you life? Because the things that I have experienced throughout my time here in the States, which at this point is about to be like 20 years, and I'm really not okay with it. I have seen the way America has advertised what it is to pursue life, how it is that you can develop your life, how it is to get a successful life, like the American dream. Like, the American dream is truer in the Middle East than it is here. Like, it's truer anywhere else where they are just wanting to believe that there is a nation out there, that they stand for the rights of humanity, and they stand for the rights that everyone should be able to worship God. And then you come and you experience that for a couple years in your teens, and now in your adulthood, you just see it deteriorate in front of your eyes into something you already know. I already know where this is going. I would love to have that conversation with any podcaster out there that's talking about revelations. We can have interesting conversations, but DM me for that. For this, I feel like I need to tell you where you can find true life. But the fact that I am the one telling you should say something to you, because I shouldn't know this. As far as statistics go, I should be either in prison homeless or dead. So 20% chance of me just, surviving in an outside institution. And then there is the other chances of that person going to seminary and getting their master's degree in Christian education so that they could finally understand their own life, because I'm from Lebanon. The Bible isn't just some book. It is my history book. If people are wondering why there's conflict in Israel, pick up your Bible and start reading the Old Testament, and it will start making some sense. Because Israel has always been the target, because they are God's chosen people, and that is why it's a conflict. So it's something that I needed to understand for myself, so that way I can understand who I am. Coming from Lebanon and having that be my heritage and having that be my culture. I mean, I was born there. Everything's in me. It is there. But now I'm here. And here is supposed to be better for me. Let's be honest, if I had stayed in Lebanon, I would not have even graduated high school. I would have just married well and called it a day. Had my kids and went about my day living as a well-off Middle Eastern woman. I mean, look at any Middle Eastern woman that's taken care of. They're taken care of. That was my option of life. That is the choice I had to pursue. That is one of the choices I've had to pursue. But here's the thing. I have seen the women in my family, from mama to teta, generation after generation, choose this path of comfort, of wealth, of abundance, elegance, luxury, all wrapped up in making money off of somebody else's blood. Have you ever heard of blood diamonds? Just saying. Look into it. I'm nobody, so no one has to come after me. But there are some privileges that we get, some luxuries that we have, that other people have paid for it with their life. It may not be by their death, but they've definitely worked for it their entire life. Did you really need someone to dig up this stone to make it shiny? I'd rather have a stone that was made out of a comet. Just saying. Anyway, moving forward, I got really confused on what it is to have a good life, to pursue life. And I thought I was alone in that. I really did, until I started my position with TMHCA and I was able to work with other people who are struggling with the fact that they don't even understand what they're supposed to be living for. I asked them, if you could have a content life, what would it even look like? And these are people who are in a crisis center, so they are at the bottom of bottom, kind of where I like to be. So I asked them, what would it look like for you to have a good, peaceful, content life? One of them starts talking about the fact that they just want to be able to have peaceful relationships with their family members. Like, they want to be able to just sit down at dinner and like have a nice conversation and feel supported and feel loved by them, instead of feel judged by all the bad decisions that they have made. Coming from a person who has made a lot of bad decisions and had to sit on those tables or in those tables, whatever it is, my mom will tell me later, I didn't want to be there. I just never thought it would be possible for me to be able to be there as a healed person. And being there from that perspective, I feel like gives me the confidence to be able to do this. Like, I have my degrees, I can show you. That's fine. Like, I have a master's in Christian whatever. But ultimately, I am Aya. Like, I am who I am. Like, I am my story. I am my relationship with the Lord. I am my relationship with my sisters. I am a lot of things. So for anyone to judge me based off of just one part and isn't willing to learn about the other parts, then I don't really care about what they have to say, because I have to protect my peace. When you come from a broken home and you have some PTSD and you're healed from it, or you're healing from it and you're living in recovery, you have to protect your recovery. You have to protect your peace. You're already fragile. We know that. I know I'm fragile. So I'm careful on who I talk to. Could someone else see that as me being picky? Sure. But I would rather them think that I'm a picky person than for me to sacrifice going beyond what I know my mind and body can handle. So for me to maintain me, I have to maintain my own boundaries. And I don't have to explain to everyone what those are. Those are my boundaries. I just hope that within my relationships that they learn to accept that and then one day learn to love it. Because they learn to love the fact that I am who I am. Like, it is what it is. You get what it is. And if I could be better, I may be. Just give me a couple of years. But, like, it's not happening now. I am who I am. And I am who God made me. And for the first time in my life, I could say that I'm not going to apologize for that. But that's also all contributes to the kind of life I've had. Is this the life that the founders fought for me to have when they thought of people being able to just go for religious freedom? For me, yes. Because I came from a country that, even though the law allowed you to have two options, Christianity and Islam, I came from the Islam, and then within Islam, they give you another two options, and it's Shiite or Sunni. Shiite is like liberal, Sunni is conservative. So my parents, everyone, Sunni. So we were very conservative. That is where I was born. So I never even saw a Christian. I lied. Our maid, who was Filipino. Because think of the hierarchy of nations, of how little they pay for each service. She went to church. Our servant went to church, yet we went to a mosque. And that's what got me interested. I was like, why is she having to drive all the way to the mountains to go to church? That was my first ever hearing the word church. And I didn't even know it was about Jesus or anything like that. And then I come here and I am presented with this opportunity to go because I was at this point in group home and they asked me, do you want to go to church with us? I'm like, there's nothing else that I have to do on a Sunday, so I guess yes. So I went, and that is when I experienced and felt for the first time the Holy Spirit. Like, really, like, felt it within my body, like, the option of having him. And I don't know if it was because I never had him, that once I did or had the option, you know, like a taste, I couldn't get enough. So I stood up and I went to the altar and I wanted to affirm what they were saying. But to them, they thought I gave myself over to Christ. And that's why they were hugging me and crying. And I'm like, is it this serious? We go back to the group home. And then that's when they ask me, well, since, you know, I gave myself over to Christ, like, I get to choose that pizza. I'm like, okay, bet. Pepperoni. And they look at me straight in the face and ask me, Aya, did you become a Christian just so you can eat pepperoni and bacon? And I look at them and I'm like, no, but yes. Because why would God care if I have bacon or whatever? I understand that at that time, if they were to have had pork, it would have harmed them. They were not processed well. They were very dirty. The things that they ate were dirty. So there was a protective reason to why that was established in biblical times. He was protecting you. But you know, we figured it out. We got some technology and we've known how to process things. And you know, we've figured out bacon. I don't know how, but it's fine with me. I just don't want to see it. But ultimately, what I was saying back then is that I don't want to worship a God that cares if I have bacon with my eggs. When I have seen mothers and children starving on the street begging for their life. That's their life. Does a person have the right to choose for their life to be miserable? People nowadays would say, yeah, it's their right. But then how can we be a community? How can we even survive as a society, as a nation, when we're willing to sacrifice another person for our own gain? That is literally what capitalism means. Sacrifice another for your gain. Still, that was better than living in a divided nation, because at the very least it was like the people against the banks, and like they always want our money. That made sense to me. It was the minute that the people started fighting within themselves and fighting for themselves and fighting for some people out, like they're just fighting, and they're constantly talking about different rights in different ways, that these are the reasons why we stand as a nation. And my question that I would like to ask is this the life that is worth dying for? That is worth sending other people to die for? One that is filled with animosity and hate and impatience. But there is also that glimmer of humanity that is still there. No matter how dark it can get, the light will always be able to shine through. So let it get dark. God's light will shine. And if we were to embrace the life that He is willing to give us, because He does say that He came so that we may have life and have it in the fullest. He didn't want us to just survive. He wanted us to thrive with His love, within His kingdom, within all of the things that He has to offer us. We were born to thrive, but no one can do that when they're stuck in survival mode. So how is that fair? I guess that's why we've always said life isn't fair. And I'm not gonna ever be able to make it fair, but I can tell you where you can find true life, and that is in Jesus. He is the giver of life. He's the one that gave you life. He's the one that created your soul. So specific, for a reason. You belong to Him. So He cares. He really does care about what is going on in our lives in every way. So when we're talking about pursuing life, pursue Jesus and He will give you life. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next episode where we talk about freedom. We'll get into it. Thank you so much. Bye.